Namaste. Today we're going to be looking at a pranayama called box breathing, and there's loads of really interesting benefits to this breathing, but mainly it kind of works in a way to balance things out in your system and kind of bring everything back to a base level. So if you're feeling maybe a little bit stressed or a little bit emotional or a little bit tired, or if you're just in any way you're feeling a bit off balance, this can be a really nice thing. You can do it quite quickly just to kind of bring yourself back into center. And for me, like anytime I focus on my breath for even a few minutes, even if it's a pranayama or just normal breathing, I always feel a little bit better. So I'm going to explain a little bit how it works first, and then we'll move into practicing it. With this pranayama and with most pranayamas, practicing it for 5, 10, 15 minutes, kind of, if you go into it deeper and deeper and deeper, you start to really feel the effects. If you just do this for 3 minutes, it's going to benefit you, but you're not going to really feel it on a deep level. So yeah, if you do have time to take this practice and go into like a 15 or 20 minute meditation, I think it's going to feel really beautiful. The idea of it is super simple. We're just going to breathe in, kind of hold our breath, breathe out, and again hold our breath. And we're going to do this for the same count. So for example, if your count is 4 seconds, you'd breathe in for 4 seconds, you'd hold your breath for 4 seconds, you'd exhale for 4 seconds, and you'd hold your breath for 4 seconds, and just keep doing this on a cycle over and over and over again. Now again, if you're just doing this for 3 minutes, you can do it very simply and it'll be fine. If you want to really feel the benefits, what we're going to look at doing is finding a deeper and deeper breath. Just like in the first video, in Durga Pranayama, we learned to breathe with our belly, our ribs, and our chest. And when we do this, we're kind of reaching quite close to our lung capacity. It doesn't have to be 100%. It doesn't have to be 100% full breath, but kind of getting close to that is going to feel really good. In the same way for exhaling, when you breathe all of your breath out, it kind of clears out your lungs and clears out your stale breath and allows space for more breath to come in, for a more richer gas exchange, which is going to give you more energy and again more benefits for the practice. So in the first 3 or 4 minutes, you might not feel it's very easy to breathe in fully or to breathe out fully, and that's why we go longer and longer and longer. With regards to breath holding, in the basic version of this, you can hold your breath. If you want to go deeper with this practice, I want you to imagine that when you're breathing in at a certain speed. When you're breathing out at a certain speed. And you can slow your breath down. So I can take in the same amount of breath in 2 seconds if I go, or I can slow that down and I can breathe in really slowly. Same lung capacity, totally different speeds. Rather than holding your breath, what I want you to try and do is breathe as slowly as possible, so you're barely taking in any air, but you still kind of have the feeling of activating the muscles which help you to breathe in. Now, again, it's kind of hard to explain in the beginning. This might not seem super easy. You're using different muscles. The more you practice this, the more it starts to feel better for breath mastery. So, back to box breathing. When I breathe in for 4 seconds, I'm not going to hold my breath at the top, but I'm going to breathe in the tiniest bit for the next 4 seconds. Or even almost not really be breathing in, but just kind of keep those muscles active that are helping me to breathe in. I hope that makes sense. I know it's not super easy to explain. Same thing when I'm breathing out. When I get to the bottom of my breath, I'm not going to close off my throat and hold my breath. I'm going to really, really gently push as if I want to breathe out more, but my breath doesn't necessarily have to move. And what can kind of help if you're If you're a visual person, you can almost imagine yourself like floating over the top of your breath rather than stopping and being really still and stagnant. Same thing at the bottom, just imagine you're kind of floating, like you're surfing on your breath a little bit. The more you tune into that feeling of floating, the more your breath feels less like 4 different parts, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and the more it starts to feel a bit more like a circle, or like kind of an oval shape, and and you have this smoothness in your breath. Again, if you practice this for a long time, maybe you won't feel amazing today, but after a couple of days, it's going to really change the way you breathe. Bit of a long explanation, but these are the kind of foundations of doing pranayamas which really help. And when you learn these foundations, you can apply them to any pranayama you're doing, and it will enrich any of your practices. Okay, so we're going to start for just a few moments by doing a little bit of Dirga Pranayama. Don't worry too much about counting. I just want you to place your hands on your belly, and as you inhale, start to move your hands up your chest, and imagine your breath is following your hands. As you breathe in, let your breath move into your belly, ribs, chest, and then exhale through your chest, ribs, and belly. I just want to show you for a second that when you do fully breathe in, it should change your physiology a little bit. When I breathe in, the first thing I want to move is I want my belly and the sides of my belly to expand. It looks like this. A bit like you're pregnant or you've had a really big meal. The second thing is these ribs, they're going to want to go left and right. You might not notice a huge change in yourself today if it's a new practice for you, but just so you kind of have that feeling. So, belly, ribs, and then chest. Out through chest first, then ribs, and then belly all the way out. So you're really activating that diaphragm muscle and the belly muscles to squeeze everything in and really push all the air out of your system. At a later stage in a different video, I'll go into more of the physiology and the muscles of breathing. For now, just imagine you're trying to like show off your six pack. Really, really squeeze your belly, squeeze your ribs, squeeze your chest, squeeze your whole body, and it'll push the air out. Same thing for your inhale. Imagine you're trying to get everything really bloated, and that's going to act like a vacuum and pull the air into your body. Let's do a few rounds together, just like this. Belly, ribs, chest, exhale, chest, ribs, belly. And just try and make it smooth. Don't worry about counting. Full breath in. Full breath out. This might be a nice moment to close your eyes and really just feel your breath coming in and out through different parts of your body. Even after a few rounds of Dirga Pranayama, you'll probably feel your breath start to feel a bit softer, a bit more accessible, and that's all we're looking for here. Nothing dramatic. For the next few breaths, I want you to relax away from Dirga Pranayama and let your breath just come back to its normal pattern. Then begin to count roughly how long you're inhaling for every cycle of breath. Okay. When you have a number, could be 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, whatever it is. For now, just match all of your inhales to the same number. Don't worry about your exhale. We're going to move into this step by step. Okay, lovely. Now, if your breath is starting to feel more open, I want you to match your inhales and your exhales to the same count. If your breath isn't feeling very open, pause the video, take a few more seconds for yourself. Inhaling for the same count, exhale for the same count. We're not going to apply the count to the top or bottom of the breath just yet. For the next few rounds, all I want you to do is notice that there is a pause between your inhale and exhale, and a pause between your exhale and inhale. And just kind of take an extra moment in that pause. No counting, no specific number. Just kind of allow yourself to almost float from your inhale into your exhale, and from your exhale into your inhale. Now, again, if you're feeling your breath is really open and you can go a little bit deeper with this practice, we're gonna move on to the 4-part breath. If you feel you need more time, please again, pause the video, take a few more rounds of breath, hit play when you're ready. The next time you inhale, again, if you're inhaling for 4, I want you to inhale for 4 and then float over the top for 4. Again, you're not closing off your throat, there's no tension in your body, you're just kind of imagining that you're still breathing in the tiniest amount of oxygen, even if your breath isn't moving. And then as you exhale down towards the bottom, again, you're going to float down at the bottom for the same count. The way you're breathing now, and this is box breathing. And this is really lovely, just like this. But I'm going to give you the option to go a little bit deeper with it. If you are feeling this is comfortable, you want to go further, what you're going to start to do is when you inhale, you're going to keep the length of time the same. If you're breathing for 4 seconds, again, we're not going to change that time. We're going to keep breathing for only 4 seconds. But I want you to use those 4 seconds to really fill up your belly, ribs, and chest, looking for a deeper lung capacity. And when you exhale, I want you to try and completely empty your lungs, your ribs, your belly, empty everything in those 4 seconds or whatever your count is. If this is your first time doing this, you might notice that your body kind of tenses up and you're having to focus on it loads. And it might not feel so amazing right now. The best way to work on that tension is to just keep practicing. Do this for a few more minutes. Even though you're taking in full breaths and breathing out full breaths, can you bring an element of softness to it? Can you still stay soft at the bottom of the breath and the top of the breath, or are you starting to hold and constrict? And allow yourself to not do this perfectly today. This might take a couple of days or a couple of weeks to start feeling really, really comfortable with. Remember, as you're breathing, just keep focusing on softening your breath. Make it smooth. Make it feel good for your body. I'm going to end the video here, but if you're feeling really good in your practice, you can keep going for another 5 or 10 minutes, whatever feels good. And when you do decide you've had enough, maybe just take a few moments, lie down in Shavasana, and let your breath come back to normal. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'll see you soon.